You've been told that more clients means more success. And for a while, that's actually true. But past a certain point, every new client that you say yes to is unknowingly borrowing from the ones that you already have. And the ceiling that you keep hitting, it feels like a capacity problem, but it's not. It's actually a design problem that you built in from the start. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to see that design flaw for yourself. And I'm going to give you the one question that you can ask about every single thing that you do for a client that tells you what to cut, what to keep, and what to charge more for. But I need you to understand that I didn't just read this in a book somewhere. I personally hit this wall face first. There was a stretch in my career, and I've been doing direct response marketing for 17 years now. And I had this client load that was working almost just too well. The work was really good, the results were really good, so the referrals just kept on coming in. And I kept saying yes, because saying yes is what got me to that point in the first place. But I remember I got to somewhere around 14 client relationships, and I was personally running all of them. And on paper, that month was the best month that I'd ever had. But I was up until 1 a.m. writing follow-up emails that I used to write during the day. Quality that I would have been embarrassed by a year earlier, it was suddenly what I was actually shipping, because there was just no more of me left to give. And the part that almost broke me is that I thought it was a character flaw. I genuinely believed that I just wasn't disciplined enough. I wasn't waking up early enough. I wasn't tough enough to handle everything that I had built. But looking back, that's the cruelest part of this whole thing. That trap makes you blame yourself for a problem that you actually designed without knowing it. So let me actually name this first thing, because it's the belief underneath all of this. More clients is progress. That's the belief. And it's half true, which is what makes it dangerous, because there is a point, and it's earlier than you think, where the next client that you add on, it doesn't actually grow the business. It starts subtracting from it. Think about a restaurant that gets famous overnight. The line's out the door, revenue's never been higher, and that's exactly the month that the food starts getting worse. The kitchen didn't get less talented, it just got more full. Every extra table is stealing attention from the other tables that are already seated. So the thing that made them famous, the food, is the exact thing that the demand is now destroying. And that's what we call a capacity ceiling. It's the point where the marginal client actually costs you more in attention, energy, and quality than they're actually paying you. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that you'd notice if it were happening to you. But that's the problem. You won't, because revenue keeps climbing the entire time. The number that's the easiest to look at, the money that's coming in, that number keeps going up, while the numbers that actually matter, the quality, your energy, how much your clients trust you, those are all bleeding out underneath it. So the real problem is that you're staring at the one gauge that's lying to you. If you've ever looked at a record revenue month and felt something closer to dread than joy, I want you to tell me in the comments. Just say, that's me, because I promise you, you're not the only one, and there's nothing wrong with you. And here's where most people go when they finally feel that wall. There's two options, really. Raise prices or hire a team. And I want to be fair to both, because they're not stupid options. They're just incomplete options. Raising prices helps. Fewer clients, more money each client, which means more room to breathe. But by itself, all it does is slow the bleeding. You're still delivering in the same way, so you're still the bottleneck. You're still the person that everything runs through. You just hit the same ceiling a few clients later. You didn't actually move the ceiling. You just rearrange the deck chairs. Hiring is where it gets genuinely dangerous, because if you bring on a team before you figured out how the work actually gets done, all you've done is clone your chaos. Now you got 3 people running the same undocumented, in your head process, and instead of just being the bottleneck, you're the bottleneck plus a manager of bottlenecks. I've watched operators hire their way into a bigger, more expensive version of the exact prison that they were trying to escape. So that's the industry pattern. And this is the part that almost nobody in my space is willing to look at. Everyone optimizes the front end. Lead gen, offers, funnels, hooks, ads. There's 1,000 videos on top of the pipeline. And almost nobody touches the back end stuff, the delivery, the part where the promises actually get kept. So you got a whole space full of people who are genuinely good at getting clients and terrible at keeping the machine that serves them healthy. So they're succeeding their way straight into burnout, and they're calling it a good problem to have. Which brings me to the actual lever here. And this is the one thing that I want you to walk away with, so stick with me. You have to separate the value from the person delivering it. That's it. So right now, if your business is like mine, the value and your physical presence are fused together. Clients pay for the outcome, but you deliver it by being personally in the room for almost all of it. And you can't scale a room. So here's a little diagnostic for you, and I call it the judgment or presence test. Take every single thing that you do for a client, every task, every touch point, every hour, and for each one, ask a single question. Does this require my judgment or just my presence? Judgment is the thing that only you can do. The strategic call, the read on a situation that nobody else has the context for, the one insight that changes the whole direction. That's what they're actually paying for, even if they don't know it. Presence is everything else. The status update, the onboarding walkthrough that you've done 200 times, the reports that you pull, the follow-up that you send, the call that could have been a Loom video. All of that feels like work, and it is work, but it doesn't require you. It does, however, require someone or something. Think of it like a doctor. You don't pay a surgeon for the 15 forms that you fill out, the nurse that takes your blood pressure, or the pamphlet that explains your recovery. You pay the surgeon for the 90 minutes where their judgment is holding a scalpel. Everything else in that building is systemized, documented, or handed off, precisely so their judgment is available when it's the only thing that matters. A great practice isn't the surgeon doing more. It's the surgeon doing less of everything that isn't surgery. That is leverage. And I need you to actually hear this reframe because it's the opposite of what the whole hustle world is telling you. Leverage isn't about doing more. Leverage is about being needed less at the point of delivery. The presence tasks get documented, they get systemized, and they get handed to AI. The judgment tasks, that's what stays with you, and they become the premium. That's your product now, not your hours, your judgment. So before I go further, if this is landing and you want the actual framework for pulling this apart in your own business, I put together a free masterclass that walks you through exactly how to separate what you sell from how you deliver it. A few thousand operators have already gone through it, and it's completely free, and the link is down in the description. I had a coach that I worked with who was drowning. They were doing something like 30 client touch points a week. Their calendar was packed wall to wall, and she was convinced that her only option was to hire an assistant or turn people away. Well, we didn't actually do either, at least not at first. What we did is we ran the judgment or presence test on her entire week, and it turned out that maybe 70% of what she was doing fell into the presence category. Onboarding, recaps, sending resources, scheduling, asking the same 3 questions to every new client. We documented it, automated a big chunk of it, and put an AI layer on the repetitive communication. She kept the same clients. She didn't raise prices for 6 months, but she got somewhere close to 12 hours a week back. And the wild part is that her client satisfaction actually went up because the onboarding got more consistent than when she was doing it exhausted. And when she did show up, she was fully there, giving them the one thing that they actually came for, which was her judgment. That's the whole point of building from the inside out. And this ties back into why I teach things this way. I built the business first version once, and then I squeezed life into whatever gaps were left over. And that's what caused me to hit this exact ceiling. And I made a decision that I was going to design it the opposite way. I was going to build the business around the life that I actually wanted, not the other way around. But you can't do that if you are the bottleneck, because a bottleneck doesn't get to have a life. A bottleneck gets to be on call. So here's the one thing I want you to get if you take nothing else from this video. Your capacity is not a number of hours. Your capacity is a measure of how much your value is trapped inside of your own head and your hands. That's it. The more of the value that only exists when you're personally present, the lower your ceiling, no matter how hard you work. And the fix was never to add more. It was to surgically remove yourself from everything that doesn't require your judgment. Growth and capacity, they're not the same thing. The reality is, you don't need more clients. You need a better way to think about what a client actually pays you for. Because if you scale the funnel before you redesign the delivery, you don't get freedom. You get a bigger, more expensive version of the same trap, and you get there faster. So this week, before you take one more call about getting more clients, run the test on the clients that you already have, judgment or presence. And be honest about how much of your week is presence that you've been calling irreplaceable. And if you want to go deeper on the delivery side of things, on actually building the systems that hold the presence tasks, then check out the resources linked in the comments. They'll walk you through how to document a process that you've never written down. And that's the practical follow-up to this video. And by the way, subscribe if you want more of this kind of thing, the thinking side of business, not just the tactics. And before you go, I want you to answer one thing in the comments. Are you a builder who's got a healthy machine, or are you the bottleneck right now that's dreading the next great month? Just tell me where you're actually at. There's no judgment. I've been both. We'll talk to you soon.